Alright, so it was a little over a year ago, I actually announced that I was switching over to Mint Mobile from Verizon, and a lot has changed with Mint Mobile, so I figured I'd keep you guys posted on the dankest carrier you can possibly imagine. Let's begin. Alright, so just to remind everyone, for those who may have not seen last year's video, I too was very skeptical of going with a smaller, prepaid type carrier, and I was just so comfortable with always using one of the big four carriers that going with something smaller made me feel like I was gonna get scammed or ripped off or the service was gonna be complete garbage. But later to find out that it's by going with the big four carrier companies is how you really get scammed, and actually using one of these smaller prepaid service companies is how you actually get your money's worth out of phone service. So for one, there's no activation fees just for switching your SIM around, and you guys know with all the phones I reviewed in 2020, there's a lot of different SIM swaps I went throughout the year, and of course that does not cost you anything extra, and the coverage in the service has honestly been very, very good. And obviously this is really subjective, but I spend most of my time on the West Coast, and during my little road trips before the pandemic and after, with face masks on and Clorox wipes across the entire journey, I was able to get adequate connection. I could watch YouTube videos wherever I needed to be, and I would say there were just about a handful of situations in which the coverage was not great, but the nice thing is Mint Mobile pretty much always has some type of 3-month sale going on where you can buy any data plan you want for a certain amount of money for 3 months, and if you don't like the first 3 months, you can just switch back to the old carrier or try a different one, and if the coverage works for you, then you can keep going. And I'm actually using the 8GB plan because I've been spending more time working from home than usual, and honestly, given the pandemic and everything and more people working from home, I would actually challenge quite a bit of you to actually think for a second and wonder, do I actually utilize unlimited data? Because that's just kind of the standard a lot of us have gone with now. Pretty much all carriers have some type of unlimited plan. Mint Mobile didn't when I signed up, but great news now is yes, they do. So if you want to opt for the unlimited plan, I would say it's still pretty price competitive to others. Of course, the business model with Mint is that you save money by prepaying for the year instead of going monthly, which as someone who's budgeting a lot and trying to keep expenses simpler, I actually really like that mentality. I would pay for everything on an annual basis if I could. There's just some services that don't offer one, but the fact that when you pay for a year of Mint Mobile on a single line, this is something I like about Mint, is that they kind of actively encourage you to just have one person on an account, one line is fine. You don't have to rake 4 other people into it in order to get that deal. When they say $30 a month for unlimited data, they actually mean it, and they're not paying me to say that. So this very much may sound like a sponsored video, which I hope that's not the message. This is coming from a guy who's just been using the service for over a year now, and the only reason I started using it was not because they reached out to me, because they didn't, honestly. I was hearing about it from a friend who was telling us that the service for them had been really good, so I switched to it. Then I made my video, and yes, Mint Mobile did send me a little bit of a care package as a thank you for the video, and they've been very grateful and thankful for my video recommending them, and obviously I appreciate you guys for using my referral code, which is not the same thing as a sponsorship because no one is technically required to use it. It's just a little way of telling Mint that, hey, Tailosive sent me, and Mint Mobile rewards me with that referral code by saying, hey, if you were sent here by Drew, then we're gonna give him a little bit of a credit towards his next phone bill, which has been very helpful for me. As a YouTuber, I kind of chase referral codes anyway, but that's not something special they just give to influencers or YouTubers or that kind of thing. Literally anyone who has a Mint Mobile account can generate a referral code, and you guys can recommend your friends, and if you are in a group of 4 or 5, you can refer 5 people and get a year's worth of 8GB of data for free, which is a pretty nice gig in my opinion. Just pass on that savings to the customer rather than just actively encourage people to all join in on one plan, and then you have one parent account and one child account. No, everybody can just have their own accounts. It's simpler that way. There's whole stores and brick and mortar buildings Verizon and AT&T have to have popped up because their carriers and their plans are so complicated. You have to have an expert sit down and tell you all the millions of plans you have to cycle through, and they change by the hour. Mint is pretty straightforward. Every single data plan comes with 5G now, which it didn't back when I originally signed up. Not that I'm a big fan of 5G in the first place, though they are using the T-Mobile carrier network, and that utilizes the nationwide 5G technology technology, which is, let's be honest, the only 5G most of us are actually utilizing. Barely anyone's ever going to utilize ultra wideband, but I do get 5G on the iPhone 12 mini, and in my experience, whether it's Verizon, AT&T, or Mint Mobile, or T-Mobile, 5G doesn't make a huge difference to me. But if it's the type of thing you care about and you want to make sure that your carrier supports it, Mint Mobile supports it just as much as T-Mobile does. So there you have it. You get 5G. The plans go all the way down to 3 gigabytes a month, which is good for the type of person that doesn't watch a lot of YouTube videos on cellular. And again, with more of you guys working from home, I imagine you're probably using less cellular data than you used to. So seriously, start looking at your monthly data rates and start to figure out if, maybe I'm using cellular when I don't need to and I could just default to Wi-Fi, and maybe I don't need to be spending all this money on cellular, because I have lots of friends and family members that are still happily on the 3 gigabyte plan, which once you pay for it for the year, it ends up only costing you $15 a month. That's cheaper than most Apple One plans. Can you believe it? You actually get, unlimited calls, unlimited texts, and 3 gigabytes of data per month for less than Apple One costs you. And by the way, what I like about Mint Mobile that is just smart, that I feel like all carriers should do, is there's no instant overage fee if you do hit that limit. So maybe your monthly data usage is looking at something like 3.5 to 4 gigs a month, and you're worried that 3 gigs isn't going to be enough. Well, like I've seen a lot of my friends do, they basically just use up their data completely every month, but as soon as you use up your data, it's not like Mint starts instantly charging you an overage fee, which is what the other big carriers do, and I think that scares people away from wanting to have a somewhat limited data plan, because they're like, oh, I don't want to deal with any of those overage fees because that's going to rack up my bill. No, Mint gives you the option in the app if you want to. You can buy more data for the month if you're in a pinch, but if you just happen to be leaving a YouTube video running in the background and you didn't realize that the phone was eating up data, it's not going to instantly start charging your account as soon as you run up the 3 gigs. It just slows way down to a very slow speed, like below 1 megabit per second, and you will be able to still do basic stuff, like maybe send a message through Facebook Messenger, but yeah, web browsing and YouTube videos aren't really going to work that well after the 3 gigs, but still, technically, it will allow you to make those calls and texts that you need without charging you anything extra. So that is just plain out smart. And did I mention the best perks of Mint Mobile? You actually get voicemails from Ryan Reynolds. And I wish this was a joke, but it honest to God isn't. I literally got voicemails on my phone from Ryan Reynolds doing his whole comedic comedy bit, which, Ryan, if you're ever watching this and you want to do a commercial together, I would love to do that, even though I'm completely not worth your time. But we also got mail from Mint Mobile with a picture of his face in it. No joke. I'm not making that up. It literally showed up in our mailbox, just a sexy photo of Ryan Reynolds, which I doubt you would ever get on any other phone carrier service. I'd like to see AT&T do something like that. But if you think I'm just gonna nonstop praise Mint Mobile today, that's not exactly true. I do have a few gripes. For one, I still think they need an iOS 14 widget of some kind that can show you how much data you have left in the month. It doesn't have to be an interactive widget, so it could totally qualify, but for whatever reason, whoever's developing the Mint Mobile iOS app, I think you guys need to step it up a bit, because I would love a dark mode. Sometimes I want to check how much data I've used in the month, but the screen is so blinding because everything's all white and I'm just seeing this fox dancing back and forth. It's incredibly cute and I like that, but there needs to be a dark mode, and I would also love an iOS 14 widget of some kind. Customer service has also been great for me so far, because I have helped a few of my friends switch over to Mint, and sometimes if they were not getting their phone to activate with the new Mint Mobile SIM or something like that, we could just use the app to chat with someone, and there was usually not a long wait, and they were usually very helpful. So not that I have a lot of experience with customer support, because usually everything with Mint runs flawlessly, and I haven't had any experiences where, cellular is down or anything like that. But the one time I did need customer support, they were super helpful and they had us working within 5 minutes. So I can confidently say, after a whole year of usage, that I do recommend using Mint Mobile. Not like I've tried a bunch of different carriers, and of course, coverage and availability is going to be subjective to where you are, but I wanted to thank them for their year of service, and I wanted to thank you guys for using my referral code, helping me save some money, and hopefully you save some money as well, because I honest to God think that most of the major phone carriers out there are complete scams. Those companies are hugely bloated and blowing a ton of money on marketing, advertising, and buildings that don't need to exist if their program was just more simple, whereas Mint Mobile is the type of company to actually give away free service instead of pay for Super Bowl ads. So yeah, during the last Super Bowl, they were just like, hey, you know what? We're gonna give away service for free, and they do all kind of promotions like that, which I think is just awesome, and I wish more phone carrier companies were like that. So thank you, Mint Mobile for being awesome and not being super cringy like the other carriers, and also being savage with how Verizon is trying to push ultra-wideband 5G. Their website is hilarious, and the whole vibe the company is going for kind of just breathes the Ryan Reynolds essence, which is, that's what I look for in any company. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you guys in the next one.